Hello, welcome, my dear students. Today we'll talk about the economic problem and the economic definition, and we will go through some points that we will take it one by one. Let's first share the screen for what I'm having today and what I will talk about. Then from there, we will go to what we need. Okay, now here for the first thing is what is the economic, or what do we mean by economic? What's meant by economic? It's a social science, like you see, that studies how people use scarce resources to satisfy their unlimited wants. So, what do we mean by this? Social sciences that studies how people use scarce resources to satisfy their unlimited wants. Actually, to be honest with you, first thing that you have to know is that the human needs and wants are unlimited. You have a lot of things you have to do every day. You have a lot of dreams you want to recognize or realize. You want to achieve it. A lot of dreams, a lot of things that you want to get in your life, like you want to have a car, you want to have a very big house, you want to have a good factory, you want to have a big farm. All this, you want to eat, you want to drink. All this together, we call it needs and wants. And at the same time, the resources means the money is limited. It's not that much. So the problem is a double side problem. While your needs and wants are too much and it is unlimited for everybody, in the same time the resources are very limited. The resources mean the capital or the money. From where I will get? From where? Yes, I want to buy a house, I want to have a Rolls Royce car, I want to do this, I want to do that, but from where I will get all this money? So this is the problem of the economics. Based on this, we can say that like this. I will show you on the screen. We'll stop here and just sharing the screen. And let's say it looks like this. It looks like this. Your needs are unlimited. Your needs and wants are unlimited, while the resources, the money as example, we call it capital in economic. The resources are very limited. Yes, it ranges from a person to another person, but in general, it's very limited. The resources are very limited. So based on this, the needs are unlimited and the resources are limited. From here comes the economic problem. That's why the reason of the economic problem. That's why there is an economic problem, because you want to get the most satisfied, the maximum of satisfaction with the limited resources which you have. And this is what caused the economic problem. Okay, so this is the point. So if I tell you an example, as example in the exam, or if it said in the exam, the needs are limited and the resources are unlimited, and I ask you to correct it, it's false. Then you will say because the needs are unlimited and the resources are limited, the opposite. So the needs are unlimited and the resources are limited. Okay, let's now say how we will solve this problem, the economic problem, how we will solve it, what we will do regarding it. Okay, let's say an example now. It will make it easy in your brain to understand it. Let's say you have $100. You have $100. You have only $100 in your pocket, and you are trying to find out three things. You have three alternates: $100, and you have to do three things. First thing is that you have to pay school fees. School fees. You have to pay the school fees, and or you have to go to the cinema with your friends. Go to cinema with your friend to watch a movie, or let's say the third thing is, um, as example, you will go to Vancouver for a break or a holiday or vacation. Go to Vancouver. Okay, so we have three things here. Based on the economic problem and based on the limited resources, which are $100, the rational person will try to check out, he will put a priority for his needs. As example, I have $100. Which one of those three do you think is more urgent? Which one of those is very important and I have to solve this problem on the spot? Is it the school fees? Because if I didn't pay the school fees, I will lose school or they will dismiss me out of the school. Or is it urgent to go to the cinema? Or is it urgent to go to Vancouver for our vacation? Which one is more, I need it more than the others? Of course, then I will say, I will give the priority here to pay the school fees because this is the problem which I'm facing just now. For that reason, that's what I'm telling you. To solve the economic problem, you will put a set of priorities based on what you need first to satisfy of your needs and wants. Which one comes first, then what comes second, then what comes third. So you will put them in a priority. Okay, the $100 now I will pay for my fees. But next, if more money comes to me, or if I earn more money or whatever, I can take this money and I can go to Vancouver or go to the cinema with one of my friends. So this is how you will put an order for your needs based on the necessity of these needs or the urgent or the need to satisfy them. So you will start with the one which need to be satisfied more than the others ones. Okay, let's go now to the second point, which is macroeconomic and microeconomic. And actually, I'm talking now about some aspects in your classes that is very important. I didn't share the screen, I think. Yeah, I didn't share the screen. So here we go. Again, sorry for that. The economic is social sciences that studies how people use scarce resources to satisfy their unlimited wants. And the macroeconomic is examines now what we'll say about the macro and the micro. We have two things here, two stuff or two issues, the macroeconomic and the microeconomic. What are the differences between the micro and the macroeconomic? The macroeconomic examines the economy as a whole. When you talk about the GDP, the gross domestic product of the whole country, then you are talking about macroeconomic. When you talk about the national income, the income of the whole country, you are talking about the macroeconomic. So macro is for the whole economy of a particular area of a country, of whatever. It's not talking about individuals, about each person alone. No, it's talking about the whole country. So here we will talk about the macroeconomic. So the macroeconomic examines the economy as a whole. Okay, uh, let's say rather than individual units, we don't talk in the macroeconomic. Um, we talk only in the macroeconomic about the whole economy. Like I told you, if I say to you as example, GDP, gross domestic product, is a macroeconomic or microeconomic, then you will say it's a macroeconomic. How about the microeconomic? Examines behavior of individuals. See this, now we are talking here about the individuals, while in the macro we were talking about the whole, but in the micro we are talking about individuals economic units, like trees in the forest, but here we are talking about the forest, so determines relative prices. So now let's say again, if I tell you the GDP, the gross domestic product is macroeconomic or microeconomic, then you will tell me it is a macroeconomic. Okay. Now let's go to the third point today is the scarcity and the choice. And we talk about the scarcity and the choice, and we said that the scarcity and unlimited wants lead to the choice. And I gave you the example here because here we choose we choose already that I will pay the fees, the school fees on this example, which was on the board. I will pay the school fees. So this is, you put priorities and you take to choose. You have to choose between one of the alternatives. Always in life, there are always no only one possible solution for any problem. There must be more than one possible solutions. For that reason, here, when we talk about the scarcity, that means that we will talk about the choices between alternatives. And here as example, like I showed you the alternatives. Okay. Always today also I want to talk about some points which is very important for us for the upcoming course. That is, we call it the factors of production. I just want you to imagine yourself, if you have the factors of production, this one, we are here. What are the factors of production? And what is the use of them? And what do we mean by them? Okay, I just want you to imagine yourself, you need to make a business. You need to make a business. So, first point, firstly, you will look for a land. You won't make your business in the air, hanging. No, you need a land. You need capital, money. Can you do a business, run a business without money? Absolutely never. And the third, you need people to work, which will be skilled people to work with you. And you will need all this, got no any use in vain, all those three, the land and the capital and labor, if you don't have a good managerial skills who can make good decisions, people who are trained, people who know what they are doing. So you have the factors of production here. Again, we have the land, we have the capital, we have the labor, and we have the entrepreneur or the managerial and decision skills or management skills. Management is what will take all this blend all of them, the land and the capital and labor, and make right decisions in the right time. The skill management. Without skill management, don't expect to have a positive results of using your land and capital and labor. Can you imagine yourself when you do a project that you bring the land and bring the capital and bring the labor and you find all of them, and all of a sudden you say, hey guys, I brought for you management, I don't know the management's performance is poor or good, but however they will work with you and will see the results. No, you have to choose a good management. You have to choose skillful people who will work with you on your own decisions. So management, I guess, it's the most important one of them. It's important, more important than the land and the capital and the labor itself. Though it's one of the factors of production, but it's more important than them. Okay? Because without the good management, there won't be a good use of these resources. Look at the third countries, third world countries, or the underdeveloped countries. What the problem in the underdeveloped countries? Their problem is the management of those countries is not well performing. This is the problem. They have the resources, they can allocate the resources, but they don't allocate their own resources in the best alternates, and this is the problem. Okay. Now I will move into another points, which is very important for our aspects. Now we will go to our, we'll talk about the economic. We said the economic defined, we said before, and the macroeconomic, we talk about it, and the microeconomic, we talk about it as well. Now let's say the economic problem, deal with the economic problem. Economic agents must continually make choices, of course, like we said, we have to make choices. The wants and the needs are unlimited. We said this before. They face a limited supply of economic resources because the resources are limited. Simply in 4 words, the resources are limited and the needs and wants of all the human race are unlimited. Okay, so usually before we go further, we need to know something about the economic models. The economic models in general, the economic models always, it's trying to simplify a relationship, or it looks like making a simulation to the real life situations. Okay, it show There are two variables. We have always something is called dependent variable, and we have independent variable. So we have two kinds of variables, dependent and independent. What are the differences between the dependent variable and the independent? The independent variable is the variable who affect the others, but is not affected. The independent, but the dependent variable is the one who's been affected but not affecting. You will tell me what the meaning of what you're saying. Hey, what are you saying? Look at this. If we say the relationship between the temperature and the ice cream sales, let's say like this. I'll stop screening, stop sharing just 1 minute, so it will appear to you here very well. Let's say, as example, how can we know the dependent variable from the independent variable? How can we know the difference between them? Let's see here. Let's say the relationship between the temperature and the ice cream sales. The relationship between them, between the temperature and the ice cream sales. Let's say, okay, logically, you would say when temperature go high, the weather is hot. When it's hot, you are expecting more sales in ice cream, and vice versa means when it is cold, people will not go to buy ice cream, so the sales of it will be low. So this is the model. A model means variables which are independent variable and dependent variable. So here, the temperature here, we call it the independent variable. This is the independent variable, the independent, while the ice cream sales are the dependent variable, or the dependent variable. Then you will tell me this is how it works. Look at this. What will affect the temperature? Nothing will affect the temperature. But temperature affect the sales of ice cream. That's why I told you here temperature is independent because it affects the sales. But it is not affected by the ice cream sales. So who affect on the other? Who is having the power, more power? The temperature. Because the temperature, when it's high, the sales of ice cream, people will need to drink soft drinks and ice cream more and more. So the sales of the ice cream will go more. And the opposite, when the temperature falls down, then we are expecting a lower sales of the ice cream. That's why we said the one who affect the others is independent. But the one who's affected is dependent. And these are the difference between both of them. You guys got it? So here, and same thing, like when you say the relationship between the price in economic, when we come to it, the same thing, the same idea. The relationship between the price and the quantity demand and the demand. You will tell me when the price go higher, then the demand will go lower. This we call it inversely relationship in the model. Inversely relationship. So the price is what? Huh? The price is what? What is it? It is the independent variable. The independent variable in this relationship. While the demand or the quantity demanded, it will be dependent. It will be dependent. And this is the nature of the economic problem. The nature of the economic problem that we have two variables in any model. One of them is dependent and the other is independent. And this is the difference between both of them. That's fine. Okay. Now let's share the screen back. Okay, okay, okay. So next we'll go to another point here about we're still in the economic models here. So the economic models include inverse and direct relationship. The direct relationship is like the ice cream and the temperature. Both of them go together. When ice the temperatures go high, the ice cream sales will go high. And when the temperature falls down, the ice cream sales will fall down as well. Will fall down as well. So this we call, because the arrows direction is together. The arrows direction are together. The up with the up was up, and down with down. So this we call it a direct relationship. But in this in front of you on the board here, the prices and the demand, this is indirect relationship, or we call it indirect relationship. Why or inverse? We can call it also inverse relationship. Inverse, why it is inverse? Because one arrow is up and the other arrow is down, like you see here. When the price go up, the quantity goes down, like what you saw here before. Okay. Based on this now, we'll talk about the economic choice. So what is the economic choice, or what the point of the economic choice which we wanted to say talk about? The economic choice is, like I said before, we have to choose between the alternates. We have to choose because I have only limited resources. I have only few um, monetary units. I don't have too much money. By simple way, I don't have much money. So I have to see what is urgent first, and I will go to satisfy it, and I will go to satisfy it. Then on the priorities, I will put for myself like a scale of priorities, and I will go on these priorities one by one. Okay, same thing. So there will meet us something is called the opportunity cost. Let's go back to the example which I said. Uh, the opportunity cost is what you will you will sacrifice with in favor of your own choice. As example, now you are working and you are a student, you are doing both. Okay, if now the time come in the exam times, and you have to stop working, you have to stop working in the exam times because you have to study. In that case, the opportunity cost is the money which you lost from the job because you took the decision to take one alternate. I will explain it again on the board. I will explain it again on the board. It will be easier to explain it. What do we mean by the opportunity cost? Let's see. Here we go. Let's say working, work, or study. You have to make a decision between working or studying. Now you are doing both of them, but come to a time you have to do only one of them. Okay, so you earn $100 a day from work per day. Okay, the time comes to you to stop working because your exams after 5 days. So you will stop working. You have to make a choice. You will stop working to study for 5 days. You have to study for 5 days. Okay, so for the 5 days which you will study, your opportunity cost here will be $500. Why? Because every day you sacrifice with $100 daily, and they are 5 days which you stop working on them in favor of studying because you want to study. So you lost $500 in these 5 days. And this we call it the opportunity. Look at this opportunity cost. This we call it the opportunity cost. We call it the opportunity cost. You sacrifice again. You sacrifice with $100 a day, okay, for 5 days in which you will stop working because you decided to choose studying because you want to pass the exam, you want to pass the exam, so you have to focus on studying. You stopped working, so the opportunity cost for you is $100 a day by the 5 days which you stop working in. Then you lost $500. As example, like you're telling me, hey, because of the studying, I lost $500 because I was working for $100 a day, and now I lost about $500 because I lost 5 days of working. This is the point. So this means your opportunity cost. We'll share the screen back and go to this. So this is okay. Uh, I will talk now about the production possibility curve. I will come to it back and the movement of the curve. Uh, but what I want to talk here is about the, I will take it in our practical part, the range of economic systems. So we have three kinds of countries. We have three kinds of systems. We have centrally planned system, which is the communist in the communist countries, like parts of China, Russia, Cuba. Those are communist countries or command economic. The other part is the capital economy, like as example, the United States of America. This is the economy. And there is in between them, comme si comme ça, in between them means mixed economy. Some countries take from the capital economy, and some other countries will take from the command, and they will take from the command economy. So they will take both of them together. So most countries have mixed, like you see here, most countries. So if I tell you, most countries are having capital economy, what do you think? Is right? No, it's wrong because most countries are having mixed economy. Modern mixed economies include both private and public sectors. That's fine. Traditional mixed economy combine traditional sectors with private. So here, this is the example which I just want to show you. I will just draw it for you to understand it. Here is the command economy on this place. You can see it here where the prompt is. Here is the market or the capital economy. And here is the in between them. In between them. So as example, when we talk about North Korea, North Korea, it's also one of the countries which is still on the command or the communist economy or centrally planned. They call it economist economy, economist, or command or centrally planned. Those three with the same meaning. The other countries are the market economy, which depends on the free markets and the capital, and sometimes they call it the capital markets, market economy. Look at this, the United States is very close to them. Modern mixed economy is in between them, in between the command economy and the market economy. It's like, as example, Sweden and Canada. So they are in the modern mixed economy. Traditional economy is the old one, and it comes here on this part. What are the difference between the modern or what the market economy and the command economy? Let me tell you something. In the market economy, it's a free market. Prices are determined by the intersection of the demand and supply. No one interfere. No one interfere. Governments do not interfere. Governments do not interfere in moving the prices or affecting the prices. No. In the market economy, everything is free, determined by the demand and the supply forces. Determined by the demand and the supply forces. Never been interfered by the country or the government. While here in the command economy, no, the situation is different. Here, the government interfere in everything in economic life. It interfere in everything. It affect on the prices. As example, by giving subsidies, by giving supplements to the people to live, by giving them free medications, by giving them this and that. So it always affect on the mechanism of the demand and the supply intersection, or enter, like they will never, it will never be free. So this is like what we call like affecting the curves of the demand and supply, this in the command economy. So the prices are determined here due to the effects of the government. Here on the market economy, the opposite, it's a free. So the prices are determined by the intersection of the demand and the supply freely, no interference from the country, no any intervene, nothing. The mixed economy, like I said, it's capitalism or market economy in some parts, and at the same time, it's communism or command economy or centrally planned economy in the other parts. So it's mixture in between them. It depends on the free markets, but sometimes the country or the government interfere. I'm talking about the middle, this part I'm talking about. They interfere in the mechanism of the prices for more control at some point. Okay, so we have here the market economy. You are free to have factors or agents of production. Here here no, everything is belong to the country, everything is belong to the government. Okay, here there are huge gap between low incomes and high incomes. Here in the command economy, it is more to equality, or the gap between the people's incomes is very low. As example, in Cuba, you will find that the people's all the stratas of the people, all the stratas are almost like same wages, very close to each other. No big gap between the people. But here, the gap might be huge between the rich person and the poor person. Here, no. The gap is so limited or very small. You cannot see it even. Okay. Now we'll go to what is the meaning of the economic goals. The economic goals. Um, Before we go to the economic goals, I will stop here for 2 minutes and we will go to check out these questions. Let's go for the first question. I already highlighted the answers, so I just want you to read it. Social sciences that study how people use scarce resources to satisfy their unlimited wants is economic. And this is the definition of the economic, which we talk about. Okay. What examines the economy as a whole? Is it the macroeconomic or the microeconomic? Of course, it is the macroeconomic. Third question, what examines behaviors of individuals? And we said before that individuals or the persons, that means microeconomic. So the macro for the whole and the micro only for the individuals or the persons apart. What are the factors of production? Is it the land? Is it the capital or labor? Is it the enterprises or all the above? Of course, we said all the above. One, two, three, four. All of them together. They are the factors of production. Let's say this. The question here is about the various quantities of goods. This will come to it. We'll come to it later on. Just now, uh, let me see the sentence. Scarcity or limited wants leads to choice. They must be together. The scarcity and limited wants. We skipped 5 and 6. We will come to it back now. So scarcity and unlimited wants together will lead to choice. Will lead to choice. The needs and wants are limited or unlimited. The needs and wants are unlimited. You cannot control it, while the resources are limited. Actually, I was putting it in the figure of right or wrong. Okay, so I will move this, or let's leave it back, no problem. So the needs and wants, because I put here to correct it in the same time, no problem, it's okay. We'll know who is the founder of the economic. The economic goals are, there are seven major economic goals. Those are the economic goals. Economic efficiency. So any country is holding the tool of the economy. Sciences, we are through the economic science. We are trying to find out to reach to these goals. While we're studying economic, we're studying economic to reach these goals, which are economic efficiency, income equity. Equity means no gaps between the income of one person and the other. All the people are having almost the same income. The gap is not big between the rich and the poor. Price stability. Price stability means the prices are not going up and down, or there is no inflation, or any kind of inflation, even the creeping inflation or the hyperinflation, like we'll see later on. So any country is looking for price stability. Full employment. Yes, every country needs their people to be all working. It's very nice that the unemployment rates of any country will be 0%. Viable balance of payment. The balance of payment is what you have and what you lose, or what you earn and what you spend. So if your earnings are more than spending, that means you have a surplus. If you earn more than, exactly like you have your income and you have spent, you have your income from the work. If your income is more than what you spend, if your income, from, as example, you are taking a salary or a pay, your pay more than your expenses in the rent, in the bills, in this and that, then in that case you will save. So for the balance of payment, we don't say save, we say surplus. So if your own income or inflow is more than your outflow, or more than your expenses, this we call it surplus. The opposite, when your income is lower than your expenses, then in that case there will be deficit. Let me explain this on the board, because it will be clear for you guys what do we mean by the balance of payments. Because balance of payments show the situation, the financial situation of any country on a given time. Usually it's 1 year. It's done for 1 year. So if we say that if the income is greater than expenses, that give me surplus. Surplus. Surplus means I have a positive. Like if your income, as example, is $3,000 and your expenses are $1,000, rent and food and everything, then you have surplus of $2,000. You have a surplus of $2,000. Countries are the same thing. They sell, they export, they have their own income. And when the income is more than expenses, then they will have a surplus. The opposite is we call deficit. If the income is less than the expenses, if the income was less than the expenses, then here there will be a shortage or deficit or shortage. But the economic idiom is deficit. We use the word deficit for this point. We use the word deficit. It means shortage. So as example, if your income, let's say here now, if your income was $1,000 and your expenses are $3,500, then you will have shortage of minus $2,500, and this is will be your shortage, a shortage in your expenses, a shortage in your total situation. Same thing for the balance of payment for a country. The country, just imagine the country is like you. So they have also their own income and they have also their own expense or expenses. What they spend for the people, for the welfare. We will come to know this later on. So economic growth, yes, this is very important, and each one of them will have for it a chapter, I believe. And environmental sustainability, uh, like we have to care about the environment around us in the same time because this the green. The green is in everything nowadays because we are living in a planet. We need to keep this planet survive. Complementary and conflicting economic goals. Sometimes the economic goals are conflicting, they don't go together, like the relationship between the inflation and the employment, the inflation and the unemployment. That's an inverse relationship. Here an example is the relationship between price stability and full employment. Okay, this is the point. The last thing today we will talk about in this class is the Adam Smith, the founder of modern economic. Adam Smith had a book which was called The Wealth of Nations. In this book, he talked about the division of labor. The division of labor means that I divide the work on many persons. I don't give the whole job to one person. Each person will take a task out of the whole work and he will do it. Based on repeating and the frequency of doing this task or this job, this person will be very qualified and very skillful. And in the same time, he will save money, time, effort. And at the same time, this will reduce the costs, thereby it will increase the profitability. So this is what we call the specialization, that everyone must be specialized in a point and only a point or two or whatever, but he must be specialized in something of the whole task. This will reduce the time, the effort, and at the same time, it will reduce the cost because the errors will be in a minimum level. So the errors of work will be in a minimum level. That means the costs will be lower. If the costs are lower, then the profits will go higher. And this is simple and logic. Okay. Uh, uh, Adam Smith also talk about laissez-passer, laissez-faire, means do not interfere. This is a French sentence, means let him work, let him die. Laissez-passer, laissez-faire, which means leave everything to the conditions of the market. Do not interfere in any economic life. Never to interfere in the economic life. So Adam Smith said not to interfere in the economic life, which means that the government should not intervene in economic activities and leave everything to the power of the demand and the supply. It will return everything to the equilibrium point again. So everything, leave it. You as a government do not intervene, do not interfere or intervene. in the economic life. Just leave everything. This is the main principles of Adam Smith. Again, Adam Smith talk about the specialization, which means that I will do only economic. I will teach only economic. Because when I teach only economic, I will be skillful in economic. You will be, as example, doing this work only. Because when you do this work only, you will be specialized. So your skills will increase and you will do the work in a less time and you will do it perfect and the costs will go down. This is what he said about. And in the same time, he said for the governments not to intervene in the economic life. This was Adam Smith, and his book was called The Wealth of Nations. We'll go back now to these questions. We said about the economic, social sciences. We talk about the macroeconomic and the microeconomic and the difference between them. We talk about the factors of production. We talk about now. Let's see this question. Market price is determined through the interaction of supply and demand. And this will be the following chapter, but I will just say something about it. Uh, okay, consumer or buy less. So the market demand and the supply. Let me show you the example for the curves because we will take a whole class, a whole lecture about the demand and the supply. But till I come to it, I just want you to see that here as example, usually we put the quantity here, quantity, Quantity, and here we put the supply, the price, Price, the price. Okay, so we have the price and we have the quantity. You know the relationship is that when the price go high, the quantity demanded, the quantity which you will buy will go down. It's inverse relationship. As example, if you are going to buy a shirt and you find it, you have only $50 in your hand. You find it with $100, then you will not buy. Quantity will go down. But if it was with $10 only, the shirt price is $10, then you will say, hey, I have $50. Why don't I buy five of it? So if the prices go down, then the quantity will go up. Like you see here, it's inverse relationship. When I do this here, as example, if I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here, 10, 20, 30, 40. Usually, we make the curve in this figure for the demand. It goes like this. Supply, so this is the demand. And there is another video, you will have it with example. I put a table and I decide put the determine the points, but for till we come to this point in chapter 2, we will I'm giving just you an idea now. Supply is the opposite. Supply goes like this. It's inverse, not inverse relationship, it's a direct relationship. So you study the demand from the perspective of the buyer, and you study the supply from the perspective of the seller. This is the market equilibrium point. This point is the market equilibrium point, which is the intersection of the demand and the supply. Where the two curves intersect, this we call the market point, or market equilibrium, where the demand and the supply intervene, or the intersection of both of these two curves. So, so the prices are determined by the intersection of the demand and the supply, both of them. We don't have only one curve to determine the prices. We have both of the curves to determine the prices, the supply and demand together. Okay, the need and wants, we said this question, are unlimited while the resources are limited. The founder of modern economic is Adam Smith, not Robert and not Batista. It's Smith. Adam Smith. And the main advantage of the economic growth are all this, the seven things which we talk about, the goals of economic. What are the goals of the economic? Is this uh, improving the living standards and the social improvements, and all of them, living standards, social improvements, and psychological benefits. Those are the things all together is the economic goal or the advantage of the economic growth. Which one? Economies focus on non-economic concerns and have tight social constraints. Traditional, and we have here market economies are consumer centered and innovative but create inequality and instability. I said this is in the market economy or the capitalism. We call it also market economy or we call it capitalism. Capitalism or free market. Capitalism. Because it's from capital means you can do capital. This is here dots economies equalize income. We said the incomes equality is usually there in the command economy. So the command economy, there is income equality, mean the difference, there are no gaps between the people's incomes. All the people's incomes are almost the same. Economic goals may be complementary or conflicting or both. Like we said, some of the economic goals are complementary, means they do not oppose with each other. They go in the same direction. Some of the economic goals are conflicting, like I said, the relationship between the inflation and the employment, or the prices and the unemployment, the relationship between them, it's conflicting. But actually, the real answer is economic goals may be both, may be conflicting and complementary together. So it's both of them. What do you think about these sentences? Economic models simplify economic reality. That's right. Economic models show how independent variables are affected by dependent variables. What do you think about this sentence? Is it right or wrong? Economic models show how independent variables are affected by dependent. Who affect the other? We said that the independent is the one who affects the dependent. So this sentence is wrong, false, because the independent affects and is not affected. The independent is affecting but not affected. Economic model include inverse relationship only. Is it like this? No. Direct and inverse. So this is also false. The production possibility curve has a concave shape, and we will come to study the production possibility curve in another video with this episode. I put it there, and it will be very clear for you. Yes, it is a concave shape. Concave shape means like this. Concave shape means like this. This is the concave shape. This is the concave shape. Let me grow it. Let me make it larger for you so you can see it. Here we go. This is the concave shape. It looks like this way. This is production possibility curve. And we will talk about the production possibility curve in the second video. It will be on my page, and at the same time, it will be in your hands, guys. Economic assume that economic decision makers minimize their own utility. What do you think? Minimize or maximize? It it say it maximize their own utilities. So this is false. Most countries have mixed economies. That's right. Most of the countries, like we said, are neither command nor free market or capitalism. They are in between. Most of the countries, they take from the capital economy and they take from the command economy. They take from both of them, but they don't work on one of them only. Thank you for listening. Shall see you again on the second lecture. All my best wishes for you and all my best regards. Thank you so much. Dr. Osama Kashwa. Thank you.